The year 2024. Something big happened. And I bet you remember what you were doing. I know I do. Did you feel that? Yes, you in front. What are you talking about? The shockwave that ran through every sledder's bones as Chris Burandt's boost ran off the line. I'm pretty sure that the executives and the marketing team knew exactly what they were doing. But I think that there is one person that maybe didn't know what was happening. Wonder what I'm hauling back there. Maybe a sled that's going to become one of the greatest tree riding sleds ever? Toot toot! Come in, big girl. This here's Diesel Dan. Go for Big Earl. What's going on, Diesel Dan? Just loving the open road. What are you hauling? I got a load full of Polaris snowmobiles. Over. I got a load full of bubble wrap in the back. Over. Don't get me wrong. A semi-truckload of bubble wrap would be super fun. I mean, I'm just going a mile a minute here, just thinking what I would do with a truckload of bubble wrap. Probably make bubble wrap suits for me and my family. But let's get back to what we were talking about. Anyways, Chris Burrandt gets his 850 boost and probably a bunch of other sleds at the same time. But this boost is the one that he's going to build. If you don't know about Mr. Burandt, he is one of my heroes because he's an awesome tree rider and mountain rider, great dad. I've tried for years to put his poster up on my wall, but my wife keeps saying it doesn't go with the decor. Excuse me, Mr. Hancock, why is he your hero? Great question. He's like the tree mountain riding sage of our generation. Now, how do you guys think he became a sage? Is it that he's spent so much time, years of riding and developing the sport to what it is today? Yes. Now, how do you guys think he became a sage? He builds his sleds to be lightweight, for the steep trees, and to look cool. So let's go ski tips to snow flats and find out about this lightweight build that makes all the Yamaha guys go, why? What? And like my wife at a buffet, let's start from the front and work to the back. All right, we'll start here at the front with the ski rubbers, and just like a soda blown up at a little kid's birthday party, you don't want to blow up your ski rubbers on the mountain. So these ski rubbers are the DuraPro ski rubbers. They're better, they last longer. Next on the laundry list of things is suspension. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that suspension is one of Chris's favorite things to do to sleds. So what suspension did Chris put on his sled? None other than the Fox IQS. In my humble opinion, this is the gold standard for suspension. You can switch between 3 different settings on the freaking handlebars. That gives Chris the ability to, on the fly, change how his snowmobile reacts. So if he wants to do a hop over or a bow tie, he can. Or if he wants to get down to business and climb a hill or do some crazy steep side hilling, he can do all of that just with hitting the buttons on his handlebars. Chris came out with a podcast on his channel where he and Blaine talk about that. Really interesting. You should go give it a listen. He goes really into detail about the suspension that he put on his sled and why it works so well. I failed to mention that this is suspension through the whole sled, not just the skis, but it's the skis and the track. Probably implied, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that. Next, we have something that's a prototype. Carbon front end. Wow, what is that? Carbon A-arms? Unfortunately, they didn't make it the whole season because, like a lot of A-arms, hit something under the snow and you bend them. And because these were prototype, they weren't able to get them new ones. So he switched back to like a regular Polaris front. Kind of like Nelly in Air Force Ones, Chris didn't want to go out on the snow without having good spindles. So he put on alternative impact spindles. Next up, what's staring at us in the face? And like where I got my gold grill, the hood. Chris has this ding, zero composite carbon hood. It's light, durable, and makes this sled look like a true mod sled. Now let's look under the hood of this sled and see what beast lays inside. This sled started out as a Polaris 850 boost, but it didn't stay that way for long. Right away, they put the Carl's 900 kit onto this boost. And a 650 crank from the race sled. You have the Carl's 900 and the lightweight crank because this guy is nuts on the mountain and he needs more power to do the things that he wants to do because not very many other people are doing them. So he has to show us what a sled is capable of so that we can do it. Things like this one or this one. Or this one's really great. Can't believe he did this one. To accommodate all that power and extra boost and heat, Chris added the SLP, I'm going to call them charge tubes. All right, I fact checked myself and I was partially right. It's the intake tube and the charge tube from SLP. To get all that power down to the ground or snow, Chris used Patrick carbon clutches. He uses Patrick custom carbon clutches because you lose rotating mass, and rotating mass weighs more or feels like it weighs more than just mass. Kind of like eating 2.5 corn dogs, 3 funnel cakes, 4 fried Oreos, 6 cotton candies, and then jumping on the tilt-a-whirl. Either you need to lose the mass or the mass is going to lose you. You thought he was done with clutching? Oh, no. Chris loves performance and demands a lot from his sled. And so he and the boys at BBA have created his own clutch kit. Bing! I'm going to stop here for a minute and point something out. There's a lot of pro riders out there and a lot of them that I really look up to. But Chris is the only one that has developed and sells his own clutch kit. And I think that's pretty awesome. If that doesn't show you Chris's passion and drive to improve the sport, I don't know what will. Anyway, back to what he did under the carbon hood. To accommodate for the added horsepower, he added a Kurtz Gear Up kit. This got him the track speed that he needed and wanted to make this sled perform where he felt it was the best. This is probably a good time to talk about how much he loves titanium. The first titanium part that he added was the Diamond S titanium silencer, which is cool because I also have the Diamond S titanium silencer on my sled. Next is one of the raddest hardcore mods that you can do to your sled. The guys that are out there doing this are my heroes. What is it, you're probably asking? It's the Alternative Impact Titanium Bolt Kit. He took all of the bolts out and put new titanium ones in. Not just in the engine, but the whole sled. That saves you 1 to 2 pounds, which when you look at how much the hardware weighs is 50%. So if you look at the percentage, it's great. The poundage seems a lot, not a lot. But that's why these guys are my heroes, because they're going to such lengths to lose a little bit of weight. I mean, my wife did that by swallowing some worm she got from Mexico, so I don't know. Are we done with the titanium parts? No, we are not. Next, he used the titanium steering post. To top that off, he puts on the Skins titanium handlebars. Now, my students, we are done with titanium, not the mods. There are lots more. Wow, that's a lot of titanium. It was, but it's cool, right? Very cool. We kind of got out from under the hood on that last one, but one other thing I want to point out about these handlebars is Chris likes to keep them low because that's a good place for tree riding. And this is what Chris is all about. Control in the trees and everywhere he's riding. And scooting back to the engine, Chris added a lot of extra horsepower, so he needed to let that puppy breathe. So what did he do to let it breathe? He added in the Boondocker air vent and the Fire and Ice vent kit. By the way, this monster of a sled was never breathing like a turtle through a straw and never a paper straw. So to get all this hot air out from under the hood, Chris uses the blowhole. So going back to the handlebar setup that Chris has, he uses something that's a little bit unique, but just like William Thatcher in A Knight's Tale, Chris wants gauntlets to protect his hands when he's ripping through the trees. So a little problem you can have when you're riding powder all day is your throttle block can ice up. So like Vanilla Ice, yo, Skin solved it, and they made a throttle block. So to round up a comfortable and light handlebar setup, Chris put on the Skins heated brake lever. This is much like the one I have on my sled, and is going to be the icebreaker that I use if I ever meet Chris. Hi, Mr. Burandt. Hi. I have a heated brake lever. Oh yeah, they're great. Yeah. What else have you done to your sled? I don't know. Yeah, it would be weird. I don't do well meeting my heroes. Or really anybody for that matter. Or talking to my mother-in-law. Ah, Diane, I love you. And you know, if you're watching, please finally subscribe. Next, for safety and convenience, Chris equips DuraPro tethers to all of his sleds. Not just his personal one, but his whole fleet. So most of these parts you can buy directly from Chris or from the dealers. But this next one is a real flex because they don't make it anymore and Chris is moving it from sled to sled to sled. It's the gas tank, and it has the gas and the oil combined. And so just like my Geico insurance, if you bundle, you save weight. And so what sits on top of the gas tank? Yes, in the front. Chris? Yes, buddy. But what is Chris sitting on? A seat? That's right, a seat. And a skin seat. Not like my favorite part of my wife. Let's move to the back half of this sled. And what do we find back here? Light skids. Just like my underwear. Lightly skidded. Anyway, Chris put a 165 carbon skid in this sled. This gives him a lightweight yet still durable skid. So to strengthen and just all around work better, Chris uses the Skins F35 tunnel bumper kit. And just like the world's largest ball of yarn, it's out of the way, but it's there when you need it. To wrap it up, Chris has worked with Arctic FX to create this sick retro wrap. Did you see what I did there? Wrap the sled and wrap it up. That was clever. This wrap was inspired by the Polaris Storm, and I think it's a sweet looking wrap because that was a sweet looking sled. I don't even know how to sum up this sled. When I think about a sled that is built for tree riding and getting things done, it's hard not to picture this sled. It also helps that Chris is a master of his craft and can take his sled to jaw-dropping speeds, breakneck tricks that can leave you speechless, and doing stuff that only he can do. Hey, if you like this video, we have others just like it where we go over different sleds from ski tips to snow flaps. So make sure to check those out. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and like. Comment what your favorite mod was that Chris did. I'm excited to have you guys here. I love doing this. I'm excited for the future. And like, Diane, please subscribe.